Hello and welcome to Rio Talk. I'm your host Etienne Gatanazi. On today's program, we are joined by Rémy Amahirwa, the son of Rwanda opposition leader Victoire Ingabire. This interview delves into Ingabire's ongoing legal challenges in Kigali, Rwanda, and more importantly, her family's efforts to defend her rights and advocate for her release. Rémy Amahirwa, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Etienne. It's a real honor to be here.
To begin with, when was the last time you physically saw your mother?
Well, I had the pleasure to have seen her beginning this year in Rwanda. That was in February and March. So yeah, beginning of this year was the last time that we saw each other physically.
Since 2010, when she returned to Rwanda for the first time since 1993, you had not seen her very, very often visiting Kigali. What has kept you away?
Well, when my mother returned in 2010, it didn't took much much longer than 6 months, I believe, that she was arrested already. So of course, I wouldn't go and visit her then because the country was clearly not safe for her and probably not for her family as well. So then she spent 8 years in prison, and when she was released, uh, till she got arrested again, it was 7 years. Uh, well, I've only visited her once, and that was the beginning of this year. So it was 15 years I had not seen her.
Your mother left the Netherlands, where you lived together when you were still young. How have you personally experienced this long distance relationship with her over the years?
It was difficult, I would say. The plan was eventually that she would go back to Rwanda, and every 3 months will come back home and to spend time with us, and that she'll go back do her politics in Rwanda. Her first trip back home was planned on my little brother's birthday. But going to the airport, she was denied to leave, take on the plane, and then all the trouble started. So we didn't count on it, let's say, that it will take 15 years to see her again. So it was very difficult and very hard and not ideally.
Have you ever worried that visiting her in Rwanda could put you maybe at risk?
I've been always been discouraged by the older generation to go to Rwanda. So that's why we didn't go initially. But after a while, me and my other siblings, it was just enough was enough. And my sister made the trip first. When you actually interviewed her in Rwanda, that was the first time one of us went to Rwanda. She went with the two children. Afterwards, when my little brother, he has been twice, and later, uh, after I got married, I got my two children and everything. After that was settled down, then me and my whole family, we also went to Rwanda. So I got discouraged always to going because people said it's not safe, and there's a history in Rwanda that it's not only the political opponents who are in danger, but also their family members, as the other politician Diane and her mother experienced.
Since June now, she has once again been detained, this time in Nyarugenge prison in the capital, Kigali. What is your reaction to this new imprisonment?
I was very upset. I was very angry, but also very disappointed. I was given, maybe false hope, but I was given a kind of hope that, you know what, maybe this time Rwanda actually has changed. It's opened up its political space. We were actually making plans to visit her again in Christmas when I was there. So actually, I would have been in Rwanda right now. But unfortunately, no, they didn't change. They acted on the threats that the President Paul Kagame had made for many, many years.
So did you see this come? Did you anticipate her arrest?
Yes, like I said, the President Paul Kagame have made threats about it, that he will do it. Uh, my mother kind of remind me when, when I was making all these Christmas plans to come back. She said, well, you know, my probation will end this year in October. So she was given a 7 years probation after she was released on pardon. On that probation, she was not allowed to leave the country. So that would have ended of October this year. She was actually have the right back to leave the country. And my mother wasn't so sure that they will let her. So she said, well, don't be too hasty with making all these plans because we never know. And
Mm.
to answer for myself, if I kind of anticipated this, I would say yes. My mother was released in 2018. I think it was the 14th of September, together with gospel singer also Kazito Mehigo. And I remember my mother had an interview, and in that interview, she didn't thank the president because he got released on a prudential pardon. Because my mother always hold on to her innocence, So why, she said I was innocently locked up in prison. So there's no need of thanking. There's actually restoring, uh, her rights that they took away from her, rights that also the African Court of Human Rights gave my mother. Um, well, they spoke that my mother had her rights taken from her, so they gave my mother actually in her rights. So yeah, my mother held on to her innocence and didn't thank the president. And 5 days later, when the president installs new members of, I think it was the parliament or ministers, he gives this interview saying that it is not due international pressure, that Victoire is released, but if she doesn't watch out, that she can find herself back in prison. So yeah, we kind of anticipated from day one, or the first weeks he was released, and it has been 7 years of kind of being in limbo, not not knowing when it would happen, and just 3 months before she actually could leave the country, they did.
Mm. Now, what is your position on the new charges brought against Victoire Ingabire? She is accused of establishing or joining a criminal organization, inciting public unrest, undermining the government's authority, spreading false information abroad, conspiring to incite public disorder, and planning an unauthorized demonstration. What is your position on this?
Well, I think that they make it very hard with the laws they've put in place for any opposition, political opposition, to take place. Is this criminal organization Dalva Umarinsi, Development and Liberty for All, her political party? How is it a criminal organization? It's a brand new party. She just started it, in her after her release from prison. So what is this history of crime or that this organization has? Are they not allowed to talk about their political opinions, their political plans that they have? Is that destabilizing the country? Or yeah, it is just laws that makes it very impossible to do any opposition. And concerning the fighting against the government or undermining the government's authority, the government's authority should not run, you know, to the minds and thoughts of people. The people have freedom of thought, freedom of expression, and concerning these are new allegations. There's also the UN um, special rapporteur on the freedom of expression who said that, yeah, my mother's arrest is limiting her means of expressing herself. So I think it is just laws that has stopped any opposition to to be done in Rwanda.
Let's talk about the international support because you've talked about the UN and the support from there. Let's talk about it uh, concerning your mother's release. The Human Rights Foundation, Freedom Now, and the Atlantis Foundation have submitted a joint complaint to the UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention on her behalf. What role have you played in this initiative?
I would say that from day one, Human Rights Foundation and Lantos Foundation have been really uh, supporting and helping our family. With laying content, starting the applications, and doing all these things. So from day one, they've actually been by our side, and as they have been a big support. So I would say that, yeah, from the moment my mother was arrested, we've been in contact with them, and I'm very thankful for them. And Freedom Now is also joining them in the joint application. But there's a whole host of international organizations and voices, NGOs who uh, have made statement against the arrest of my mother. Amnesty International is a big one. They're helping out from all several countries, and I'm really grateful for their support. It feels that we're not alone in this struggle. It's a little bit different the first time that my mother went back to Rwanda 2010. Then I could say that we definitely felt more alone when it happened.
Do you believe this time with the UN involvement, it could make a real difference in your mother's case?
Yeah, I believe so. I really believe so. I think that I believe in the wisdom of the crowds. It's a kind of idea that collectively we humans know better than, let's say, the individual of the majority of small group. And if the whole world, the international community is saying to Rwanda, hey, doing this, you're making a mistake. You are repressing people's freedom. This is actually not development or protecting yourself. You're actually harming yourself as a country and you're moving backwards. So that is what the international community is saying to Rwanda. And if you then want to be stubborn and just go your own way, I think like that is, you're fighting against the wisdom of the crowds and you're choosing to be a fool. So I really believe in the wisdom of the crowds and in the international community. And I think it will be in the benefit of Rwanda to go with the consensus of the rest of the world.
Talking about the international community and its support, you also took the case to the European Parliament with your sister Haisa. Uh, what do you believe that would come out from out of that European institution? I saw that some of the MPs were supportive to in the case of your mother. What do you think these people are going to help in terms of having your mother released and maybe continuing to enjoy her rights?
First of all, what it does, it gives international recognition. It gives also a clear statement from them asking for immediate release. That in itself is very big to have the EU Parliament collectively saying, hey, this woman is falsely imprisoned and we are demanding her immediate release. That in itself shows the support um, and actually that the truth and justice stands on my mother's side. And for me, that means the world, knowing that yes, what my mother do is just, what my mother do is right. She's standing up for, yeah, for truth. What it will come out of it, yeah, well, that is politics and diplomacy. I have good hopes, but till today, I do not know yet. But I do believe there will come something good from it.
During the INGABIRE Day event in Brussels in late October, you mentioned that you recently joined the struggle, and I quote you, for a free and democratic Rwanda. Do you would you like to elaborate on this? What is that fight? What does it mean to you personally?
Well, when a country is free and democratic, it means that it is run by the rule of law, that nobody is above the law, including high government officials. There are term limits. These term limits are in place so that nobody actually grows too strong or too accustomed to its position, and that people don't rely on, uh, let's say, on people, but more on the institutions. We don't, Rwanda's there's kind of like a cult of following starting about these people because you have some people there who are just in power indefinitely, seemingly. And you don't have that in free and democratic countries. If I look to the country where I live now in Sweden, I would say like, well, the the prime minister here is a known man, popular man, but he definitely is not the most popular and known Swede. I would think that internationally maybe the pop group ABBA is, but we cannot really say the same about Rwanda. It is there quite a cult of following around the president, and that kind of hinders this free and democratic and the rule of law. And I want a country where everybody is free to, to travel to move out from, to have opinions about, and don't have to be in line with the government. And it's lacking in Rwanda, and that is quite sad because I think that it stops a lot of people. We have a big diaspora all over the world, and it stops a lot of people in the diaspora to actually go back to Rwanda permanently, or to just travel, visit, spend their money there, help, and build up the country because they know that, well, if I'm there, I gotta watch what I say, gotta watch to whom I talk to, gotta watch what I think. So it is not free in that sense, and it's not democratic in the sense that we have people who stay longer than the term limits.
In the same event, you also mentioned reading works by David Imbara and journalist Michaela Wrong. What insights have you gained from these authors?
Well, they're very interesting books because before my mother got arrested, I would say that, the first time my mother left to Rwanda, I was 17, but she have been doing politics since I was very young. And that was mainly something that my mother did and my parents, were interested in. I guess
Mm.
that is for a lot of young people, and it was not something I myself got involved in. So when she got arrested, and this time I had a, a reading up to do. I had to, gain knowledge and to know more about it because I did felt like I have to speak up. I cannot be a participant on the sideline while this injustice is happening to my mother. And if we don't do it, who will? It is my mother. If the unfortunate event will come that she would pass away or be, you know uh, yeah, being executed, let's say, by the Rwandan system, I will lose not only as many Rwandans, a role model, somebody they look up to, but for me, I will lose my mother, the only mother I have. I think for a lot of other Rwandese, they will eventually find another figurehead, somebody to look up to, but I cannot find another mother. I only have one. So I really felt that I had to, learn about the problems of Rwanda and participate in. And
Mm.
yeah, concerning those two books that I named, yeah, the one of Michelle Wrong, Do Not Disturb. I think it's a very interesting book because it kind of talks a lot about the RPF, what the some of the founding members when they were still in Uganda, how they grew up, how they rose to power, how the revolution started, but also how then eventually the revolution, well, not fell, but it's kind of, well, she quotes it really nicely, or she says it really nice in the book. It's a famous saying, says the revolution started to devour its own children. And it means that, it started off on the right foot, but eventually inner struggles or whatsoever started that one of them rose more to the top and started to, devour or, take out the other members. And that book actually gave me understanding for from the RPF side, from their struggle, because I think they've been kind of on the other side that I am at now, being a refugee in a foreign country, not able to go back to your own country and, facing the discrimination that they face there, probably to more extent than I faced here in Europe. But I can understand their longing to go back to their country. Well, they chose to do it through arms, which I don't think that is the right way, but that is how history unfolded. They had an armed struggle and invaded the country um, from Uganda. And it was very interesting, and I got kind of compassion for their struggle, and the things that they've went through. But I also got a little bit of view of the inner struggles because it talks about some members being assassinated in South Africa or other surviving assassination attempts and this and that on. And the book of David Himbara, that one I was reading because I really wanted to know um, who is running Rwanda. Where's the powers lying? And he, in his books, he says that a lot of people have asked him these questions all over again because he's been working for the administration in Rwanda for 7 years, I believe. So he had this in view, the inner knowledge, this look, and he's laying out his view or his belief of who's actually running Rwanda. I think he says, he disputes a couple of claims. He says, like, well, it is not a political dictatorship. So it's not the RPF who's running it. According to him, he says it is not a military dictatorship. It is not the generals or whatsoever who's running it. And, we know about, for example, the general who actually said, our man is finished. He ended up in prison and died there, March of this year. He said it is not an financial elites dictatorship. He said it's not the billionaires, who funded the RPF back when they came in, like Tibet, the tobacco industry. It's not them. He says it is actually, according to David Mbara, it is just a lone uh, rogue on the top. And he says it is Paul Kagame, but he also believes his wife, Jeanette Kagame.
Mm. Uh, you expressed gratitude to Rwandans who continue to support your mother. How significant do you think this support is in her current situation?
It's crucial. It is so crucial. I would say, as when my mother left, she was like an unknown, a nobody, the international community. But she was very supported by a lot of Rwandese. Unfortunately, the struggle has been so long that some of these supporters maybe have, grown impatient and maybe stopped supporting or doing other things, looking for other means. But now my mother has gained popularity internationally. How much more is it not important to now support her more than ever? Because I believe that the struggle, the fight is long, but I do believe that we are coming to an or a new phase, a higher phase, or hopefully towards an end of it. So I think
Mm.
it is very crucial that now this to get more support as he ever did before. And I'm very thankful for those who kept supporting her, those who started INGABIRE Day, those who are there faithfully every year. It is amazing. It means the world to me because, like I said, I only recently joined uh, in this collective struggle that we have, but they are the ones who kept the fire burning for all those years. So I'm really thankful for them.
At the same event, you quoted your mother saying that was back in 2010 when she was going to leave you in the Netherlands for the trip to Rwanda. And I quote, I'm going back to Rwanda to participate in the presidential election. They might arrest me or they might even kill me. Growing up, how did you process her decision to leave her family behind and return to Rwanda under such risks?
Well, it was surreal. I would say that at the beginning, she was telling us this. She had traveled before for her politics, but she would always come home. The idea was that she also would travel to Rwanda and come home every now and then. So it wasn't really real until it happened. And then it actually gave hope that she knew the price it could cost and that she was willing to pay that price. It gave me hope knowing that she was prepared to this level to actually do it. And it still gives me hope knowing that, when she was arrested again, that like, well, for her, nothing's changed. She was still willing to be imprisoned, to be killed and die for a free and democratic Rwanda.
Yeah, and in your speech at the very event in Brussels, you called on the Rwandan Gen Z, the Generation Z, to stand up to President Kagame, referencing recent youth-led movements in Madagascar, in countries like Tanzania, Morocco, Kenya, and some way back in Uganda also. Do you believe similar change is possible in Rwanda?
Rwanda is a very difficult, I get complicated country because I've been thinking about it, like where lies the issue, and I guess the issue is not, let's say, Gen Z need to stand up. I think more just the older generation needs to go and sit down. I've been talking to a lot of, I guess I'm a millennial. I'm 33 years old. I've been talking to other millennials and Gen Z who are younger than me, around these. And we are, in a sense, I'm talking collectively, but this is my own view. And for some who I've met, we are quite tired of getting we inherit this burden of, let's say, the genocide and the the struggle between Hutus and Tutsis, and it is a burden that we don't want to carry. And strangely enough, it don't mean so much to us. We have born in a very different world. The world has, as a whole, has moved very rapidly since the digital age. Since internet came out and everything, we get exposed to a lot of different things. So our world is, let's say, is very wide. The view that we get to see from the world. And sometimes, for example, people will comment negatively on my social media posts, calling me an interhamwe. Well, I don't even know what that means. It is like it is such a different world that I grew up in that I'm very far from, like, okay, I've know the term Interhamwe, of course, from the history, what they've done, but it doesn't mean much to me. It's like you be calling a German person now, in the country where you live, a Nazi. Like, this German person is far removed from the Nazi Germany, you know? So I feel the same that, we have, and we want to, like, do something new, have something fresh, not have every discussion always have to do with, Interhamwe, Nyenzi, or things like that. Like, no, we don't feel like that. We want to have a different discussion about our country and be free and open to discuss those things. And I think that that is something that Gen Z uh, must actually say out loud to maybe their own parents, maybe to their own, all the people in their family, but also to the government, that we want another type of open, free discussion. It does not have to be held hostage by what happened in the past, because we are much more interested in our future. That is our lifetime. We want to live our future and we want to talk about it now. Don't hold us, captive by the past only.
Would you say that these divisions, ethnic divisions between the Hutus and the Tutsis, is in a way maybe fueled by the current government, or maybe it has become something natural that people feel free to talk about those divisions, and it happens just to be natural like that. No one fuels it. Do you think there is someone behind it?
I think when you make a topic forbidden by law, that you're not allowed to talk about it, it becomes this taboo. You actually empower, that thing. I think, like, when people get to talk about it, get to, make movies about it, write books about it, do whatever they want about the topic, you, in a sense, give the people chance to process it, everything, this what happened. You give the people a chance to not say normalizing. We're not normalizing the genocide, let me say, in that sense, but we're normalizing to talk about it. Just like in other countries, let's say here in Europe, it is normal to talk about the Second World War. It is not a taboo. You're allowed to talk about it. There are made hundreds of movies about it and books or whatsoever. And
Let's
it is
say maybe in Burundi, where we have almost the same case, even if until now some people don't believe that was a genocide in Burundi back in the 70s. But these people also have these two ethnic groups. But
yeah.
it is just no more talking about it, and it doesn't divide people.
Exactly. And I think that is the problem when you make it this taboo, it becomes this point of division. And I think those laws that are more harmful. Maybe the idea was right when they made those laws. Maybe tell you know what, uh, let's do it. We it is so much pain. Let's protect it. But in practice, it has not it has not done what they wanted it to do, or maybe they wanted it to do. I do not know, but I do think now it has taken the whole country as hostage.
Mhm. Uh, Before we conclude, what would you tell President Paul Kagame if you happen to meet him in terms
I,
of politics and the way Rwanda is governed today?
I I would say like Rwanda we are I would say that Rwanda has a lot of things going for it. It is for such a small country, it is a very well-known country, not only because of our terrible past, but also for the bright future that, the president has helped to build upon. And I would say if he wants to have a lasting legacy that will outlive him in a right way, I would say to be a president, there have been very few in Africa who ever did, who military presidents who came to power by military force, who willingly steps down, gives the power into the public sphere, and then retire. I think then you will have a legacy that will outlive him for hundreds of years, and it will be a role model for many, many other African uh, military leaders to follow.
Mm.
And I would say, by yeah, first thing of action is then release my mother.
Yeah, Rémy Amahirwa, thanks for joining us on Real Talk Channel. It was really a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you very much, Etienne.
Mm. Yeah, urakoze cyane.
Yeah, turi kumwe.
Yeah.